nice day. Ebook. Turbo. Read the story. Whole story. Turbo was watching his favorite racer on TV when his brother Chet said,
Please go to sleep. We have work to do tomorrow.
The next day, Turbo is supposed to be working at the tomato plant, but he'd rather be racing.
Guy Gagné rolls into the lead with Turbo hot on his tail.
Turbo said, pretending to race.
What are you doing, Theo?
Chet had to have a talk with his brother, so the foreman wouldn't fire him.
You have to quit with this race stuff,
Said Chet.
I can't.
Replied Turbo.
It's in me.
Turbo was feeling bad. He went to an overpass and watched the cars. Then he closed his eyes and made a wish. Suddenly, a big truck zoomed by and blew Turbo into a waterway.
I wish I was fast.
Turbo landed on a car built for racing. The car took off and Turbo got sucked into the engine. He was soaked with racing fuel. Then he got kicked out of the tailpipe and landed on the ground.
Ah!
Back at the garage, Turbo looked in a mirror.
All right, I'm okay. Everything seemed to be just fine.
Turbo said. But then his eyes lit up like headlights, and his shell started beeping like a car.
What is happening to me?
Turbo asked. The next day at the plant, a boy nearly ran Turbo over with his tricycle. Without warning, Turbo's eyes lit up and his shell began beeping. Now, he could zoom as fast as a race car.
Woohoo! I can do anything.
Turbo said as he raced around the bike. The boy on the tricycle chased Turbo into the plant.
Tuck and roll, everyone!
Yelled Chet. The tricycle crashed. Tomatoes flew everywhere. The foreman blamed Turbo and Chet for the mess, so he fired them.
Oh no.
Suddenly, a crow swooped down and grabbed Chet.
Help!
Chet screamed.
The world is moving!
Turbo charged up his shell and raced after him at full speed.
Hang on, Chet. I'm coming.
The crow dropped Chet onto a taco truck.
Where am I? Is this heaven?
Asked Chet.
No, Chet.
Turbo said.
We're both okay, but I'm not sure where we are.
Suddenly, Chet Chet and Turbo found themselves covered by a glass jar. Tito, the owner of the taco truck, had captured them.
Who is that? Who is that?
Oh no!
Turbo and Chet were dumped onto a homemade racetrack. They were lined up with tricked-out snail racers for a snail race. Turbo shot across the parking lot at a super fast speed. Everyone was amazed.
Woohoo!
Chet was upset.
So what's your plan? To hang out with a bunch of crazy snails and a nutso taco man?
Chet asked. Then, Turbo saw an advertisement for the big race. He had an idea.
I have an idea.
Turbo tried to communicate his idea to Tito. He circled around the advertisement for the big race at super fast speed. Tito understood. They would compete in the big race. Tito, Paz, Bob, and Kim all made Turbo a souped-up shell with a painted number, spoiler, and fin. Turbo was so excited.
Check me out. I'm ready to race.
Tito, the shopkeepers, and all the snails arrived at Indianapolis.
There's my idol, Guy Garnier.
Turbo said as he got ready for the race. The race started, and Turbo flew around the track, right beside Guy Garnier. He passed the other cars by racing snail style along the racetrack wall instead of the track. On the last turn before the finish, Guy Garnier slammed his car into the marbles and caused a huge wreck. Even Turbo was caught up in the big mess. Turbo's shell was cracked and his super speed was gone. He was right by the finish line, but Guy Garnier was about to push his car across. There was no way Turbo could win.
Tuck and roll, Turbo!
Yelled Chet.
Tuck and roll. Tuck and roll.
Turbo pulled himself in and whirled over the finish line. First place. Chet and the rest of the crew were so happy for Turbo. Turbo's dream came true. He won the big race.
Yeah, I'm the winner.
I'm so proud of you, Turbo. You did it!
After the big race, Turbo returned home to Starlight Plaza and started the Turbo Racing League with all his friends.
Ready, set, go.
We're gonna have a fun race today!
The end. Read the story again? No.